Gerwin, good to have you with us this morning. Now, that apology and that promise to cooperate with any investigation, significant or symbolic?
I think it's both. China is the largest auto market in the world, so it is very important for Toyota to make a statement in China. And I also think, it's a very fast, rapidly growing market that's still relatively young. So in the minds of the customers, the future customers for Toyota, it's very important to make a statement now.
Fair to say, though, that Toyota's problems in China, they're less complicated and in terms of magnitude is much smaller than the ones we're seeing in the U.S. and Europe, correct? I mean, we know to date it's recalled less than 100,000 vehicles.
From my understanding right now, the one model that's been recalled is the RAV4. It's around 75,000 units.
So how do you compare the problems in China compared to the rest of the world?
Obviously, the scale of the recall is smaller than what we've seen in the United States. However, from a perception standpoint, as we said, China is still a relatively new market where a lot of brands, images, and perceptions are being formed. So it's equally important for Toyota to come out to China to make a statement.
Gerwin, latest numbers suggest that Toyota is lagging behind rivals, the likes of Nissan, in terms of sales growth in China. Is that likely to change anytime soon?
China, the one good thing about China is that it's a very strong backdrop in terms of growth. For the car market in 2010, we're looking at unit sales growth of 15%. Now, each company has their own strategy in terms of growth driven by model launches and capacity expansion. So the key is to look at Toyota's own plans in growing in China and whether they can execute on that.
Right. What do you make of these plans? I mean, can you quantify the kind of potential China holds for Toyota? I mean, we know Toyota made inroads into the Chinese market back in 1997. How much progress has it made, and where does it go from here?
I think if you look at market share among the foreign brands in China and the car market, Toyota was about number 4 in China last year. I think going forward, again, it's going to be driven by model launches and capacity expansion. I think from the statement yesterday, the unit sales target for China, for Toyota in 2010 is not that aggressive. I think it's in the low teens, which is in line with what we think the overall market could grow. So from this perspective, they are within the realm of the overall market growth rate, which means it should not be too challenging.
Is it conceivable, though, that China could be its main production center in Asia in the next, 5 to 10 years, given China's cheap labor, abundant labor? Would that make sense?
I think right now, China is still very much a domestic market. Export of automobiles from China right now, the ratio is still relatively low. So we look at Asia, including Japan. Japan is going to continue to remain a very key production center for the likes of Toyota.
Okay, when you take a look at all the international players in China, Toyota stands at number 4. Which automakers in China hold the best potential?
I think if you look at the speed of growth or the market share changes in last year in 2009, Hyundai Motor has been a relatively fast mover in the Chinese market. So this is one company that is looking to be doing quite well in China.
What will Toyota need to do differently if it wants to be in that position?
I think beyond just Toyota, I think for a lot of the foreign automakers, one theme we're seeing in China is the rise of the local brands. And they have been growing at the faster rate than the overall auto market or the car market in particular. So that's one thing that the foreign car makers have to watch out for, is how they can serve the customers of China going forward in a way that is competitive with the local car makers, which seems to be gaining market share, in particular starting from 2009.
Okay, Gerwin, before we let you go, your stock picks. Which auto stocks would make sense? Which ones will you bet on right now?
Our key buy right now on the China passenger car side is Dongfeng Motor. Has joint ventures with Nissan, Honda, and also PSA of France. Wide product lineup, new model launches, very solid management, very solid balance sheet. This is the stock that we like, Dongfeng Motor.
Okay, what kind of upside are you looking at?
I think our fair value is 1260 on the stock, Hong Kong dollars.
Okay, Gerwin Ho, head of China Autos for Citi Investment Research and Analysis. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Let's do a